Back with another video, giving y'all something a little bit more different than the recent content we've had. An album review, which I've been meaning to do quite a few recently, but I've slacked quite a bit. But I want to touch on someone that I personally don't enjoy that much. A R, I don't want to call him R&B, a pop artist by the name of Khalid, otherwise known as Khalid Donald Robinson, as his intro presented. An artist that I personally am not the biggest fan of because of really the soul. I know he gets depicted by his target audience being mainly Caucasian women, um, as having a lot of soul, speaking to the heart. And while that audience and what speaks to their hearts are different than what speaks to mine, I see where he sets it up and presents it in such a way that that could be like the effect of such a his tone. His tone is very he uses a lot of falsetto, a lot of just like kind of harmonizing with the beat without really saying words, and that really all you gotta do is just hit a, a Cuban woman's emotions with not even words, and that's soul. But that was my criticism of him coming into. When I listened to his last album, American Teen, I wasn't the biggest fan of the non-single tracks. I liked Location and the other one he had that was really big, but the average track on there was pretty useless in my opinion. And I mean, maybe that's just me. He makes good anthemic tracks. The other track that wasn't Location, I can't find for whatever reason. Literally, his album just has Location on Wikipedia, and I gotta go through back pages to find another single that's not that. Um, the average track just basically just be him harmonizing on the song. He'll set the Young Dumb and Broke. That's what it was. That was a really anthemic Americana type track, which he does good in the selling in that kind of lane. Type Halsey, Alina Barris, Alicia Cara, something like that. Really, he has to give you more switch ups than an average track, and maybe that was his intentions of dropping an EP versus a full length. Um, Try to condense it and go back to his roots. Speaking on to roots, I felt with the intro track and the album cover, that was his intentions was to go back to where he came from, not in a racist way, but in a way, because really, um, I could see where like he has like a lot of good vocal training and a lot of good emotion. Like he's a teen, he's 20 years old. I'm expecting like I guess Teddy Pendergrass, Prince, something more weathered when it comes to R&B. And I treat it like hip hop, where hip hop you can have an old song, it could be expressed, but when you haven't experienced that many things, you can't really fake it in R&B or pop really, but mainly R&B. And I think this is him trying to give his story in a more apropos way. Um, the intro really, it's just him speaking on. I believe got a key to El Paso, Texas. Me and my uncultured self. El Paso, Texas, from the mayor, and apparently it's presented 913. So it's him going back to his city. The album covers him going back to his block. Track two, Vertigo, is more of the same, I guess. It's not really him redirecting his formula that's worked to this point. He sets a nice laid out beat. Uh, if I was to put in like the wave format, it feels like the beat is like a solid ground, and then it's like he comes in with a little melodramatic kind of tone to it, kind of dips down amongst the pre-chorus and the chorus. I'm looking at Rap Tunes right now, so that's how I structure it. The pre-chorus and the chorus. But as you progress, it kind of like it runs with a roller coaster, really. And backing vocals, Ty Dolla Sign. It makes a lot of sense. This reminds me of a Ty Dolla Sign kind of throwaway from like Beach House 3, or like you kind of just felt the vibe is just really in there with it. And with the latter half, latter minute, the outro of this, it's just him just really like the vertigo is really gone up and down so far, and now it's you hit like that, you hit rock bottom. You fell off that building now, and you're just hitting the ground. You're rolling. Your body's rolling. You're already gone, but you're just rolling after you hit the ground off the top floor. Decent track, not anything too impressive, but in a house show, which we'll be going back to your roots. That's where everybody comes up from. A house show, you got to go up. In a house show, in a small 15-seat aroma, this song will be killer. You got some good cappuccino behind you, a little bit of Henny put in the cappuccino. Track 3, Saturday Night. This was one of my favorite Lil Jones off of here. In topical order, it was the first one I really like. It was like, wow, this might be, Khalid might give me something a little bit different. He started it out with rolling a cigarillo. Swishers make my thumbs hurt. Swishers make my throat hurt. Wait, hold on. Let me. I interpreted this entirely wrong because I thought about white women who listen to this man. I saw something like rolling a cigarillo. Swishers make my thumb hurt. That made sense to me because the type of women that listen to. Anyway, Saturday nights, blueberry cigarillos, swishers make my throat hurt. Rolling OCBs on the side for me, light them up and let them both burn. Okay, well, that reminds me of somebody going back to the block. Certainly, I think once you get big, that whole process is something that a youngin doesn't do, or doesn't do like a youngin. I've never participated in that, the rolling and all that mess, but all that mess. I just give him a shout out for taking it back to the block with that, and with the rest of the track, it really he just brings you back to his teenagehood, before he blew up, I should say. This topically reminds me of like a 16-year-old just really getting out there in life by himself for the first time, departing from his parents' watchful eye, and yeah, I really liked it. I'm sitting on a Friday night reviewing a Khalid album, so it kind of speaks to me. The sparse background, good vibing out driving music. I'm gonna use vibe pretty often because that really fits with Khalid's aesthetic. So to use a cancerous term such as that, but it really fits his driving point when he makes music. And a good track comparison for me was Lonely Weekend by Casey Musgraves from Golden Hour earlier this year. Very similar topically and kind of mood wise. So track, I believe 4. Let's see where we're at. I guess you can call it a track if you want to. Salem's Interlude. It's if you had if you took the mom track from Blonde and made the woman like 30 years younger and completely flip the topics, you'd get this right here. I say it to say like it's kind of a budding 17-year-old that is spoken through this woman. I don't know if it's a friend of Khalid's or who she is, but she's kind of like just talking about like her fears, things that she obviously knows, like she's aware of that she could get better at or do better. But even with those conflicting feelings, she still feels like she's on the right, track, and she's doing the right things. She just needs to circumvent that, and it kind of closes out with after this very relatively intellectual diatribe, looking inwards. It kind of ends with, "Oh yeah, damn, I'm trying to get so motherfucking hot, nigga. I don't want to feel nothing. Wait, what?" So I guess it's like you have a teenager that is at this point realizing like, wait, what am I doing? I'm having all these feelings. Man, this ain't worth it. Which is, I mean, a teenager thing. Like, teenagers feelings. I'll tell you, so as a now I guess an adult, teen feelings as a teenager, they're tough. I've had many a time where I just sit in the bed and just think about life and be like, man, this ain't getting me nowhere. And while initially I didn't think the interlude meant much, this interlude really means a lot. And if you are about 15 to 17, this interlude will probably speak something to you. Next track, Motion. Really, I kind of guessed track initially because I like the atmosphere it's set. It's the same way I like this atmosphere that Saturday Night had. But I don't know, Motion. If I would say that Vertigo didn't have much to it without like digging into it and maybe reaching a little bit, um, Motion really like Motion is like your typical Khalid track where he's just getting on there, gives you the thematics, and then just spreads over like a good 3 or 4 minutes, and you really don't. I don't see them gain anything from it because it's really like not the vocals, the atmosphere that the production sets and the theme that it sets coming in. It's really cool. Like I can't word it specifically, but you feel like it reminds you a lot of winter. Maybe more so like fall coming into winter, and you just have like the world's colding up a little bit. You're trying to get in, kind of hibernate. From the outside, you don't want to deal with all that cold. You like you're just flowing. You're just walking on like a kind of 50-degree type of night, and the words don't really mean nothing to you at that point. You just hitting the vibe, and it's a specific lyric. Honey, I forgot to mention, I'm so entranced by the rhythm. That's how I feel about this song. If someone were to like try to cut a kind of golf the rap, not golf, but kind of like a dark rap type John, like Access and Tentacion, Vice City. This would be a really good track to chop up, but doesn't do anything else for me really. Better the lead single, really good track. His longest cut in terms of original vocal content. By that I really just mean that like he instead of just giving you the mag in the first verse and then operating off of that for the rest of it, um, this really gives you like a whole like meal kind of. And with being the lead single, you kind of expect this a little bit more. It's definitely kind of it's definitely popular. This is a track that's meant to be a radio hit, and it kind of I don't want to say sappy, but love to see you shine the night like a diamond you are. Yeah, um, you know, topically at this point, not anything new at this point in the album. The album's almost done. It's pop R&B. He's giving you pop R&B. Um, More pop and R&B on this particular track. If you were a fan of he had a thing called OTW that I believe I listened to once when I was listening to a bunch of singles last. It was early this year, not last year. It was alright, but it was really like it was alright for different reasons than why his poppy, let's say Homemade Dynamite or the Lena Barres track would be alright. It feels like you can actually like listen to this without like also having uh someone pull up to you and be like, "Wow, I love New College," and then start vibing out, like just start like rocking out to it. Like I don't want that. It's a chill pop track. It's not just anthemic. Uh, young and dumb and broke, young and dumb and broke. I don't know the lyrics. I don't remember the lyrics of that, but people rocked out to that one. That was when they played at like Hangout Fest. This you might see it at like a concert maybe, but it wouldn't be in full. It's really good. The vocoder at the end of it was really well done. It kind of reminded me of a harmonica. Shout out to Stop Trying to Be God. That kind of it took that principle and then like threw it out there on some Daft Punk type stuff. And the last track, Suncity, the titular track, featuring Empress of. Shout out to Empress of in this just straight up. This one is beautiful. Yeah, I might throw an Instagram in the bio. This one is legitimately like a beautiful woman. And first thing people are gonna say when they just hear this even set on, it's one of those, another one of those dirty whining Latin type tracks. And people may be tired of those by now, but they're the best type of track to really flow over with you just want to like you want to get that dancing upbeat type, but you got a duet type thing going on. And Khalid, when it comes to duets or form with several people with a melody, he's excellent at it. I mentioned homemade dynamite, and he was, I think, the third verse in that, and he did great behind Lord and the other acts that was on that. Empress of, she played the back for the most part in the song, but she added a lot. The the beat, which I mean, your typical like kind of Latin type of dance type of track to it, not anything too new to it. But really, I mean, it was really good vibe wise, and the melody that Khalid introduced to it was really good. It was a good closer. For an album titled Suncity, it reminds me of the sun. You know, very wavy, very fiery, and that's pretty much it for the album. Went a little longer than I would have liked to, but my summarization of this is if you wanted some a change up to the kind of icebergish, just I get on there and I kind of chortle to you vocally without much lyrics, you know. Maybe this album gives you a little bit of hope for the future, but I liked it as somebody who wasn't a very big fan of Khalid, and I hope that you like it too. Give it a listen and have a good day.